An Unexpected Encounter. Chapter 1. Silence in the Mountains. In a small village called Pidlisny, nestled in the heart of the Carpathian Mountains, life moved at a slow, measured pace. The people here lived simply and quietly, carefully tending to their land and raising livestock. The village was surrounded by dense forests, which hid many secrets and stories passed down from generation to generation. The locals said that at night, when darkness envelops the forest, you could hear the trees whispering, telling their ancient legends. Oleksiy was one of those who knew these forests well. He was born in Pidlisny and had spent his entire life in this mountainous region. A tall, sturdy old man, he was always ready to help his fellow villagers and knew the forest like the back of his hand. Where the best mushrooms grew, where to find a spring with pure water, and where not to go because of the wild animals. But even he could not explain some of the things that happened in the mountains. One evening, as the sun slowly set over the horizon, Oleksiy decided to take a walk through the forest to breathe the fresh air and gather some medicinal herbs for the winter. He knew well that the cold would soon come, and he wanted to prepare in advance for the harsh winter. His path led him along a narrow trail to an old mountain meadow where sheep were once grazed. The forest around him was silent, too silent. Even the birds seemed to have hidden away, not wanting to disturb the peace of the night. There was something inexplicable in the air, as if nature itself was holding its breath before something unusual. Chapter 2. An Unexpected Discovery. When Oleksiy reached the meadow, he felt his heart skip a beat. Right before him, at the edge of the clearing, stood a huge metallic object that resembled a disc. It was about 20 meters in diameter, with a smooth surface that reflected the last rays of the sun. The object was completely still, and there was no sign of any living being around it. Oleksiy stopped and stood for several minutes, unable to believe his eyes. He had never seen anything like this before. Cautiously approaching, he realized that the object was made of metal, but one he had never seen before. It gleamed as if it were brand new, yet at the same time appeared ancient, as if it were a piece of an alien civilization that had found its way into this forest. The old man carefully touched the surface of the object. It was cold to the touch, and he could feel a faint current running through it. He tried to find an entrance, but everything seemed monolithic. Then he decided to return to the village and tell the villagers about his discovery, but just as he took a few steps back, the metal disc began to glow. The light was bright, but not blinding. It illuminated everything around, and at that moment, Oleksiy felt the ground beneath his feet disappear. His body lifted into the air, and within seconds he was inside the object. Chapter 3. Inside the ship. The interior was vast and well lit, although there were no visible sources of light. The walls and floor were made of the same metal as the exterior, but here everything looked even more mysterious. Right in front of him was a panel with many buttons and indicators flashing in different colors. Oleksiy cautiously moved forward, trying to understand where he was. In the center of the room stood a chair resembling a throne, and next to it were small screens displaying images from outside. As he approached, a screen suddenly changed the picture, and the face of a creature appeared on them, unlike anything he had ever seen. The face was oval, with large black eyes and thin lips. The skin was blue, and instead of hair, glowing tendrils protruded from the head. The creature silently watched Oleksiy, and he felt words forming in his mind, although the creature's mouth remained still. "Greetings, inhabitant of planet Earth," echoed in his head. "We mean you no harm. We have accidentally found ourselves on your planet due to a malfunction of our ship." Oleksiy, stunned and somewhat frightened, didn't know how to react. He had never believed in UFOs or other forms of life beyond Earth, but now he stood before undeniable proof of their existence. "Who are you?" he finally asked, feeling his heart pounding in his chest. "We are messengers from a planet far beyond your galaxy," the creature replied. "We are exploring the universe and searching for other forms of life. We have visited your planet many times before, but have always remained unnoticed. Chapter 4. Communicating with aliens. Alexei listened attentively to the alien, trying to understand why they decided to reveal themselves to him now. The creature continued. Our ship was damaged during a journey through space. We had to make an emergency landing on your planet, and we are now trying to restore its functionality. We noticed your presence and decided to make contact to avoid any misunderstandings. Alexei felt relieved. He understood that these beings had no malicious intentions. They simply wanted to repair their ship and return home. "Can I help you in any way?" he asked unexpectedly, even to himself. The alien nodded and pointed to one of the screens displaying the internal structure of the ship. Alexei didn't understand the technical details, but he sensed that his knowledge of the forest might come in handy. "We need certain resources that we can find in your forest," said the alien. "These materials will help us repair the damaged part of our ship." Alexei agreed to help. He knew well where to find the necessary plants and minerals and quickly returned to the forest. As he gathered the materials, his heart filled with pride. Not only had he witnessed something extraordinary, but he was also able to help beings who had arrived from distant space. When he returned to the meadow, the aliens were already waiting for him. They collected the necessary resources and began repairing the ship. Alexei watched as they worked, using technologies that seemed magical to him. Chapter 5. A Secret for All. Over the next few days, Alexei remained in contact with the aliens, helping them find everything needed to repair the ship. He saw how they gradually restored their machine, using materials found in the forest. All this time, he didn't tell anyone in the village about his adventure. He knew that people simply wouldn't believe him, or worse, they would be frightened and call in the military. The aliens, in turn, were grateful for Alexei's help and promised to leave him in peace once their ship was ready for departure. They also offered him a reward for his assistance, but Alexei declined, saying that it was enough for him to know that he had helped. Finally, the day came when the ship was ready to leave. The aliens thanked Alexei and bid him farewell. The ship slowly rose into the sky and disappeared into the clouds, leaving behind only a faint glow. Alexei stood in the meadow for a long time, looking up at the sky, thinking about what had happened. He knew that this event would forever change his life, but he decided to keep it a secret so that no one would disturb him or his village. Returning to the village, he continued to live as he had before. But now, when he looked at the starry sky, he felt that there was something much larger in this vast universe than he could ever imagine. He was part of a great mystery, and this filled his heart with peace and contentment. Chapter 6. A Change in Perspective. Months passed after Alexei's encounter with the aliens. The winter that followed was harsh, but the old man was prepared. He often spent time by the fireplace, reminiscing about his adventure. He hadn't seen any further signs of the aliens, but he felt that they had left something important within him. He began to notice that his perception of the world had changed. He no longer viewed life solely through the lens of daily concerns and work. Now he saw each day as an opportunity to learn something new and incredible. His knowledge of the forest and nature also deepened. He began to find places and plants he hadn't known about before, sensing that the forest was revealing its secrets to him. One day, during another walk through the forest, Alexei found an old stone with symbols carved into it. He had never seen this stone before and didn't know what the symbols meant. But when he touched it, he once again heard the words in his head, similar to those he had heard from the aliens. He realized that this was part of the same message and felt that his connection with the aliens had not been broken. This feeling stayed with him, and he realized that he needed to share his knowledge with others. He began telling his fellow villagers about the importance of preserving nature, how to interact with the forest properly, and how to listen to it. The people listened to him, as they had always respected Alexei for his wisdom. Day by day, his connection with nature and the universe grew stronger. He no longer felt like just a part of a small village in the Carpathians. Now he saw himself as part of a bigger picture, where every moment and every event had its meaning. His encounter with the aliens had shown him that the world was much larger and more complex than he had thought. Chapter 7: A Message for Eternity. Alexei lived for many years after that fateful encounter. He became even wiser and more respected among the villagers. People often asked him for advice and guidance, and he was always ready to help. But he never told anyone about his encounter with the aliens, though he sometimes hinted that there were many things in the world that couldn't be explained. Eventually, when he felt his time was coming to an end, Alexei decided to leave a message. He wrote down everything that had happened that night in the meadow and hid the note in a safe place where only those ready to understand the truth could find it. When he passed away, the village lost one of its wisest inhabitants. But his legacy lived on in the knowledge he had passed on, and in the message he had left for future generations. The people continued to live in harmony with nature, following Alexei's advice, and cherished his memory. And far away in the universe, among the stars, the aliens remembered the old man who had helped them and maintained their connection with the little planet where they had found a friend. They knew that the time would come when the people of Earth would meet them again, and were confident that this encounter would be as peaceful as the one that took place in the Carpathian Mountains. This story seeks to show that even the smallest event in life can change everything if we are ready to open ourselves to the new and unknown. It also reminds us that we are part of a vast universe, and that the connection between different forms of life can be incredibly important in understanding our place in the world. Thanks you for watching this video. Subscribe to Watching More Histories.